Well, the first basic step with Pinterest is having this website that you can sell your products. And so we're still working through the basics here. Pinterest is definitely a more visual search platform in the category like Google than a social media platform like Instagram or Twitter. Visitors are directed to different sites depending on their IP location and uses a variety of different top level domains and provides features and results that differ depending if the user's logged in or logged out, just like a Google search with guest mode and incognito, and if they're using web or mobile. And these are all characteristics that we see in the Google search tool. Similar to Google image search, every pin on Pinterest is clickable and linked directly to your store product pages via destination URL. And the half-life of these pin images is longer than any other social media platform. Your traffic from posts on platforms like Instagram or Twitter will last for a few hours compared to Pinterest, where this can bring in traffic for years. A good example, if you just look at Google here, you can see there's pins in here from a few months ago all the way back 2014 here. Definitely an evergreen type platform, and these pins are still driving traffic 5-6 years later. Clearly, it's a visual search engine more than a social sharing network like Instagram or Twitter. Because it's a mobile application, we're going to need something like a phone app here to do some testing. What the PC phone app will allow you to do is once you install it on your computer, it'll connect to your mobile phone and you can navigate as if you're on your phone. You can see exactly what it's going to look like your site. So I'll just go back to our product page here. You can see if we switch back, I'll just have it in the corner here. And you can see this is a browser. And what do we have here? This is in Chrome browser. Okay, so every mobile phone will have different browsers from Safari to Firefox, Chrome, Samsung on this one also. So our first priority is to make sure the site that we've developed on a desktop or web is going to function the way we expect it or look on a mobile browser. Now, there's also a Chrome extension we use, and that speeds up the process. The reason we have the PC phone app is because there's no emulator for Pinterest. So the Pinterest app in itself, you definitely need to do something like this. And if we go to Chrome extensions, this browser we just installed is our extension, responsive viewer. Very handy. And what it will allow you to do is take a look at any of your sites. Well, again, it's important to look at from a product page or a collection page. So this is what it looks like in the responsive viewer. You can see it looks very similar. You can see that this is an actual connection to a phone, and this is an emulation, and you can see it's very close. Sometimes it's even, if you put that right there, you wouldn't know that it's the emulator. I'll play with it at the beginning. You want to look through all your links and everything, make sure everything is working the way you expect it to work. The reason we're doing this, and I need to emphasize this, is that Pinterest uses that in-app browser when a user clicks on the destination URLs. And that's going to render your site slightly different than any other browser. You can change things from email capture forms, scripts, navigation menus, depending on your Shopify theme. In here, everything's looking good. The only other thing that you should do is a speed test. And the reason for that is Pinterest users have a very low tolerance for slow sites. They'll click back very quickly. The only problem with the speed test on a demo site here is that it's going to go back to the home page. So it's not giving us an actual speed test of the product page. But you're looking for definitely something that's fast loading. Visitors will not bounce away from your page. 85% of your traffic uses that mobile app in Pinterest. And sometimes when you're promoting pins, you're targeting mobile traffic, so you can say 100% is mobile. Definitely go through your links, whether you use this program or the emulators, make sure everything's working. If it's not working in here, it's probably not going to work in the Pinterest app. And you're trying to avoid wasted traffic and slow sites. The demo site does look good. Again, with the default debut theme, it's generally quite responsive and there's no issues. Now, what you're going to see here is 50% of the pinners live outside the U.S. Pinterest has a lot of geolocation, internationalization features based off IPs. Their services will change in different areas. If you're from outside the U.S., you're going to see stuff different than someone in the U.S. You're going to see traffic coming from different domains in your Google Analytics for your store. In our case, we're actually connected to our Office VPN in the US, but we are logging in from Colombia for some of these examples. You can see everything's working fine here. We're on a help page. Click on the links, everything's going to work. It's basically taking you to Pinterest trends. If we were to switch to a local IP here, you can see now the help files are going to get changed. Now they're basically telling you they're not available in your country yet. And every country is going to be slightly different. Up until yesterday, this Pinterest trends availability was only US. It still is, but there's a workaround if you append with a parameter of country US. Before it was showing up as you would get this type of URL, Trends Pinterest, it would say, sorry, not available in your location. And now some of the pages are actually loading if you use that parameter if it's not there already. As a user of Pinterest, you're going to see some limitations if you're not in the US, likewise with your visitors. Especially with promoted pins, they're not available in all countries for users, as well as your product feed. Again, there's some limitations depending on your country. Product catalog may or may not be supported, but there's, again, always workarounds. Top level domains that you may see coming in from Pinterest. Again, this is a different example, but the point is you can see there's multiple country specific domains and a pin will work with each one of them. Here's another example. Just look at the NS records. You can see all the different, there's at least 30 that I know that are working for different countries of Pinterest. Not all your users are going to be logged in when they look at a pin. For example, this one's a logged out. You're not logged into an account here right now. You can see there's no rich pin data. And you have suggestions here, and they're going to change. You can see the same pin where you're logged in, and you'll see the rich pin data. It's a slight difference between being logged in and logged out. And you see the recommendations here are different also. And this is also dependent upon your browsing history as well as your account history, the people you follow, etc. This view might help show you the difference. As you can see at the bottom here, this is a logged in user. On top, they're logged out. They're both products with rich pin data, which is important because your Shopify product feed will be rich pin data, which again is a distinction between a regular pin that doesn't have rich pin data. That doesn't change as much when you're logged in or logged out. Now going back to the mobile emulator, you can see the difference here. You're logged in on this account in the mobile emulator. You can see the rich pins. It really stands out in here. Same product as on desktop. And now we switch to a logged out view. As you can see, and the rich pin data is gone on the mobile view. And you can see we're logged back in. The data is back there. And we go back to the logged out view, and when you click on it, it's going to want you to log in. It does the same thing on desktop often, where you basically block your screen until you do log in or sign up. And it also gives you the option to go to the Pinterest app here. And to emphasize the difference between the rich pins that we were looking at for product pins and a regular pin, you can see this one's logged in. You can see the data there. And when you're logged out, typically you're just missing your category and a few small details. Generally, the data is similar to whether you're logged in or logged out. If you're trying to access a pin when you're on the mobile, it's going to prompt the user to install the app if they don't have it already installed. And if it is installed by default, it's going to open those links in the app. This is probably why the conversion is so high on the app installs, because you can hardly tell that you have an option not to install the app to use it. It's the web, Android, iOS. Some features work on one and not the other. Always be aware of that. For example, there was a URL here that I bookmarked, and if we just actually go to open this, we'll just back up here and stick it in here. Now it's redirected to edit your profile cover, and before that, it was a feature that was only available on desktop, that URL. So I'm trying to give you an idea, a bit of complexity as well as a bit of confusion. Be aware of the different features for different devices. That's the main takeaway here. Hashtags is one of those things that work mobile. They have very different instructions from mobile to desktop. And now when you try to find information, they don't even let you log in. The point is that it's different. Hashtags are different on mobile than they are on desktop. Some areas it's being phased out already. To summarize, the same URL on Pinterest will often have different features depending if the user is logged in or not, if they're using web or if they're using mobile, as well as their IP location. 50% of your users are non-USA, so this becomes important when you're considering the user experience.